much. And joining me, the future editor. Great to see you, Dana. So, first of all, what do you think about Jen Psaki saying Americans just don't understand what's going on here?
Yeah, she did admit that this is a supply problem, and I would agree with her, but it's a domestic supply problem. This administration has taken very concerted steps to hurt supply. We have a Secretary of Interior who has prohibited drilling on federal and tribal lands. We have a fracking moratorium. And then when you add in things like canceling ANWR leases, when you add in canceling the Keystone Pipeline, these are sending market signals that are hurting the supply. And as the demand is continuing to increase, without a supply, well, then prices are going up. So the press secretary has it right, but she or her administration, the Biden administration, is causing this supply problem. They are responsible for what is happening.
There are two other things that she doesn't have right. One is that Americans don't understand. Americans understand perfectly well when they go to fill up their car every time they go to the gas station that it's costing a lot more money. They have that right. Secondly, they understand supply and demand. It's one of the simplest rules in economics. If you have the supply go down and the demand go up, you have higher prices. It's very simple.
And all of these prices are then added on to the cost of living, right? We don't have the luxury of changing our lifestyle when gas is expensive. If you still have to bring your kids to school or you have to go to the doctor, you still do it. You just spend more money to do it. Food prices are up, lumber prices are up, utility prices are up. All of these things are because energy has become expensive. We are the most energy abundant nation in the world. And as such, we have the ability to lower energy prices for the average person. We had that in 2019. Lowest energy prices, highest tax revenue and from the energy industry going to the federal coffers, lowest emissions on history. We have a winning formula, but we've reversed it.
But what's crazy, Daniel, is that while we produce energy in a more clean way than practically any nation in the world, and while we have a lot of workers, 6 million of them that depend on the fossil fuel industry, we're turning off our industry and turning on or empowering all of our enemies and adversaries that produce oil, like Russia and OPEC.
Yeah, and this is really disappointing in this administration. They have relaxed sanctions that allowed Russia to build Nord Stream 2. They've removed sanctions from Iranian oil companies, so they're able to produce more.
But now, Daniel, right now we're going to OPEC because they realize that supply's down. We need more supply to get prices to come down a little bit. They're asking OPEC to produce more. That's what the administration, instead of helping our producers to get back to energy independence, they're going to OPEC with hat in hand. Now, first of all, that's screwing the American workers, but secondly, that's it goes against their green agenda because we can produce and transport oil more carefully than OPEC can. Look at Venezuela. It's a mess. Yeah. It's a cesspool.
And we are enriching the OPEC nations who, for good or ill, are not necessarily our friends. Most of them are not democracies. They're oligarchies. They're monarchies. So rather than keep those profits here in America by producing more in a green manner, as you said, with conservation, we are allowing countries like Iran, Iraq, the Saudis, Russia, Venezuela to now grow their coffers. So it's a losing scenario on every angle. It's mind-boggling this administration would take the 2019 winning formula of energy and national security and a strong economy and reverse it. It's
well, it butts up against their view of the green future, where you have these mysterious, so far unanswered jobs that pay better than the fossil fuel industry does, and millions of them. We saw this happen before, though, during the Obama-Biden administration, when they claimed all these green jobs that never grew into fruition.
Yeah, and we're going to see more of these green promises. We've already seen them from this administration. And a lot of people are going to get rich by this Joe Biden $6 trillion spending plan, right? I would love to know who those people are and who they donated to for president.
Well, the other thing is that not only are people being hurt at the pump, but look at these rolling blackouts. They're beginning to happen again. Of course, we saw them last winter when a lot of those windmills froze down. But we've seen them for years now in California, which has very strict environmental regulations against fossil fuels. What happens when we have these rolling blackouts throughout the country, particularly as we become more dependent on our electrical grid to provide electricity for electric cars?
Exactly. And my home city of New York just last week sent out a notice to its constituents asking them to start conserving energy. These are new problems in America, right? America has never had an electricity shortage before. This is self-inflicted wounds made by liberal politicians who don't understand how the electric grid works, don't understand how the energy industry works, and they are purposely inflicting pain on their constituents for a political end. California does it, New Mexico does it, New York is doing it. Sadly, we see it happening in Texas. These are reversible trends, but only if there's the political will to stop this radical green movement.
How long before it becomes irreversible?
Well, if Joe Biden has this nonsensical plan of going 100% green by 2030, we will all become California. And what's fascinating about California, look at the neighborhoods that are told to turn off their electricity or that are put into dark by Governor Newsom. It's not Silicon Valley. It's not Hollywood Hills. It's not the Kardashian household or Mark Zuckerberg's mansion. It's regular, nameless, faceless, powerless Americans. They're the ones who always suffer under the environmental policies of the radical left. Always.
And of course, they don't understand what's going on, according to Jen Psaki. I mean, that's the most insulting part of this whole thing. Daniel Turner, thank you very much. Appreciate it.